Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very honored to be here. And Matt's presentation has only reinforced what a great driver technology is in our industry. Through this presentation of mine, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that technology becomes one of the cornerstones of doing modern day business and how AI is going to change in times to come. Sorry, yeah, so these are pretty much the cornerstones of our modern day operations. You have a lot of technology. Technology could be security, safety, warehouse solutions. You have intelligence of data that you currently already have, and if you're making sense of that data and producing knowledge. Last but not the least is, of course, people and processes. We are as good as how robust our processes are and how focused our people are. So there are a lot of value adoptions, and there's necessity of mindful selection of the kind of technology that we need to secure our assets. Anything from adopting camera technologies to adopting strategies to strengthen your security posture. It involves a lot of deliberate effort. Let me draw your attention towards as simple as selection of cameras. It's not that you have one device that fits all bills. So you have availability of equipment today, which is very purpose-built for your kind of operations, wherein the intelligence is actually put into the camera and not being processed using a lot of heavy-duty hardware. A lot of these devices, including IoT devices, need a very special hand at cybersecurity, and cybersecurity obviously is also one of the big games in the complete ecosystem. As far as people movement and material movement is concerned, a lot of that comprises of how do you allow movement to happen even in the first place. So modern day assets or modern day facilities dictate that we need to have a very high throughput entrance management and in a relatively shorter time. So you have those devices available today as well. A lot of access control has moved away from traditional cards. I mean, I'm myself not carrying my card, but you now have your credentials moving to a smart device like a smartphone. So you would never forget your smartphone, but you might just forget your cards at the back. Or better still, move to facial recognition. A lot of facial recognition today works on a very, very high authentication rate. Last but not the least is, of course, communications. Most of the assets that you see in the industry, they are large assets. They're multiple acres. Communicating between different devices obviously becomes a real challenge, and that's why we still advocate for analog. In certain cases, analog has actually been able to save a huge cost of the order of millions of dollars in very large projects. Of course, then there is embracing current wireless technologies like 4G, LTE, and even 5G upcoming. And in such areas wherein the mobile network is relatively weaker and you need to have to assimilate most of your remote assets, even carrier aggregations are available. And when we look at placement of these devices, of course, there is a method to this madness. There are a lot of volumetric-based studies that are conducted when you're placing devices in order to get the most out of them and to have them, for the best effect. When we say risk is not just, security. Risk is everything that is happening within your assets. We have the way your cabling and wiring is contained, your fire and life safety, your structural, how robust is your structure. And when I say structure, I don't just mean the perimeter, but also how structurally solid are you in terms of your buildings and in terms of the walls. Of course, one of the things that you don't see on this slide is perhaps what is outbound, but that is equally important. How best can you monitor the movement of your trucks and your assets which are there in the field. Last but not the least is, of course, all of this requires a lot of energy. The way we are functioning as a business requires a lot of energy, and electrical HVAC obviously is one of the key essentials. Even one of these go down, this could have a very detrimental effect on business operations. So artificial intelligence is the buzzword, right, nowadays, and there are all kinds of it. There is generative, there is cognitive, there is predictive analytics. We use a lot of these examples in the framework nowadays. You have everything from inventory control to slot counting. You have object-specific intelligence. And a lot of that intelligence could be machine learning, or shall I say, machine vision based, or it could be data, related, wherein a lot of data analysis is happening at the back end. But we have to be obviously, very cognizant of how intelligent are we making our systems. Would we like them to take? Would we like them to take a command or an action in place of us? And that's where there is a fine balance between adoption of AI and what we call artificial general intelligence. So convergence is the key, right? Data is everywhere, and we have data running in various volumes and various types of footprints. You have everything from a small delivery hub to a large warehouse. They are all running on different kind of technological footprints, shall I say, and they all come back to your corporate security backbone. However, when their data is available, how do you drive knowledge out of it? So you have essentially every site having its own local monitoring, but then how would that respond should something go wrong? And that's why the convergence of technology would lead eventually to an integrated command and control. And the integrated command and control is obviously, the mothership which is driving all operations on ground. So everything from trigger alerts to needs-based monitoring, you're monitoring multiple systems all at the same time. You're correlating events and correlating alerts from all of them and then driving an action accordingly. Situational awareness, which could be through social inputs, Facebook, Twitter, or in case you have a news feed, or in case you have a weather feed that could affect or disrupt your business operations. So everything from date, time, location, what is the proximity of that to your location? Can it affect your delivery routes? Can it affect your physical assets? All of that data could be available. And of course, you have manual triggers wherein somebody from your own team could actually go down and click a picture or click a video and start an incident ticket already. So a lot of this is possible, and a lot of this is, I know, very commonly available. But the adoption of this, at least in our industry, seems to be miles away, but it is actually not. So, of course, once we adopt such intelligent technologies, what is that we get? I would like to draw your attention to the bits which are in colored. Of course, reduce your response time from minutes to mere seconds. I mean, this is the biggest thing that is the takeaway. And of course, improve your incident escalation up to 20 times faster, because today you have relevant data and data with a lot of supporting pictures, supporting video. You have evidence to escalate this to the right department. And such converged and intelligent SOCs actually focus largely on KPIs and focus largely on the operational functions. They don't necessarily mean big bucks anymore. You know, something like something of this sort can as small as, you know, a $50,000 a year kind of an investment and can grow over a period of time with the organization. Of course, with the advent of AI and smarter, user interface, a lot of operations have become very intuitive. So the learning curve has, of course, gone much smaller. Most of these systems, including IoT, comes cyber hardened. So your reliance on corporate IT, though it's always going to be there, but your reliance on corporate IT to at least secure yourself also gets partly taken care of. And of course, a lot of this communications is integrated. That means you're able to send a signal or you're able to send a message through very large distances, sometimes even countries, without having to use a mobile phone. How we monitor is also how we respond and how we audit. Everything that the system throws at you is quantifiable. So whether that is, doing periodic audits, or that is doing any kind of a facility or a system health checks, the system always keeps you in control, always keeps you in the green. And should there be any shortfalls, there is immediate remedial measures which are available to you, and you are able to take a direct action should any of the indicators go bad. So the value proposition here is, of course, like to bust the cost myth. A good design, when it comes in fundamentally, can save huge costs for an organization, because none of the systems are available as a block that you can apply everywhere. Every organization has a different culture, and every culture has a different approach to its design. Of course, the localization of technology becomes, a very, very important factor in terms of making the design very sustainable. You could have a corporate security global standard, but that corporate security global standard might not allow you to support these systems locally in your country. So it's always good to have something which is locally available and can be very well supported. The focus is, of course, through this approach, is business first and risk first. You can look at your red book a little later. And because you have standardized a localized design, even the maintenance cost makes a huge difference over a period of time. Last but not the least, a good design can also save you a pilferage cost. So it is estimated that every project in this world has anything between 3 to 4% as its pilferage cost at the word go. A good design, wherein everything starts from the time an asset is being constructed, can save you significant money as the project progresses along. So in conclusion, I'd say technology is there, and with the advent of AI, a lot of data is now being converted into knowledge, and hence, obviously, that makes our organizations more intelligent, and intelligence is a great enabler. But AI is as good as people using it. So while you train an AI model to work for you, we also need it to feed the right kind of data. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of word around ChatGPT nowadays, and I was just having a conversation with my friend that if you feed it garbage, it will throw garbage at you. So these models are as good as the kind of data that you feed into them. And adoption of technology and adoption of a good design and even adoption of AI needs very agile leadership. That means you need to be fundamentally ready to adopt change, and your organizations and your departments have to be aligned to adopt that change. Last but not the least, of course, none of this means big money anymore. A lot of these tools are very commonly available. They are commonly available in the open domain, and a lot of these tools come at a fraction of the cost as they used to even a decade ago. Much of these applications that I just showed you are available on subscription, and all you need is the right kind of design principle to bake that into your framework. With that, I just want to end my presentation here. My name is Kunal. I do design with IIRIS, and myself and my colleague would be here to take any of your questions, should there be.